from the CenturyLink Sports Complex in Fort Myers, Florida. The Twins wrap up the Grapefruit League part of spring training as they take on the Boston Red Sox. It's been a good camp so far for the Twins. It's been a healthy camp so far for the Twins, and some encouraging signs as the Twins hope to score more runs in 2016. It's a beautiful day for baseball. The Twins will pack up after the game today, head up to D.C. for a couple of exhibition games, and then Monday afternoon, it all starts for real in Baltimore. And we welcome you to Fort Myers, Florida, with the Boston Red Sox taking on the Minnesota Twins. I'm Dick Bramer along with Bert Blyleven. 1 year ago, when the Twins broke camp, they started the season with an outfield of Torrey Hunter in right, Oswaldo Arcia in left, and Jordan Schaefer in center field. Over the course of the 2015 season, the Twins brought up 3 rookies, and they all will be in the starting lineup in the outfield this year.
Yeah, what a year a difference a year makes. For these guys right here, you look at Byron Buxton. There's been so much talk about Byron Buxton, about his athleticism, about what he can bring to a ball game. Not only the Twins want him to make good contact, but also defensively. Miguel Sano playing right field now in his first full year with the Twins. Quite a job last year. 18 home runs for Sano. And then in early May, it was Eddie Rosario getting called up. You're looking at Rosario, only 24 years old. Sano and Buxton, only 22 years old. A very young outfield.
And a very promising outfield. We mentioned the Twins are hoping to score more runs in 2016. Those 3 players figure to play a large role if, in fact, that happens in 2016. And the regular season is right around the corner, starting Monday in Baltimore. We've got the Grapefruit League finale from Fort Myers in just a moment. Season game under these weather conditions. Temperatures in the mid-80s today. Partly cloudy skies. Gorgeous weather here, as it's been for most of March. Very accommodating weather to get baseball work done. And at least one of the announcers is ready for the start of the regular season.
That's me.
You dropped athleticism on our viewing audience. And
pretty good, huh?
4 syllables. It sounds like 5. You're in mid-season shape.
I am ready to go.
The Boston Red Sox batting order has Mookie Betts leading off, Dustin Pedroia batting second, Xander Bogaerts third, David Ortiz the designated hitter, Hanley Ramirez. Red Sox announced that Travis Shaw is going to be their starting third baseman and not Pablo Sandoval. Brock Holt, Blake Swihart, and Jackie Bradley Jr. rounded out for John Farrell.
First of all, I have no idea where that came from, but
the athleticism?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I had none. I was a pitcher, remember that. But you see the lineup for the Boston Red Sox. For the Minnesota Twins on the mound, it'll be Kyle Gibson. Gibson has been outstanding. He's had a very solid spring, especially in his last start against the Pirates here 5 days ago. 6 shutout innings, and look for Kyle maybe to go 4 or 5 innings. Get ready for that second day in Baltimore. That's that night game on a big day, April 6th in Baltimore.
More about the magnitude of that day as we move forward, I'm sure. Mookie Betts jumps after the first pitch. We might see a lot of that today. Fly ball short left, and Rosario comes in, and he makes the catch. The Twins will leave for D.C. after the game here today. Typically, these games do run at a rapid pace. The Red Sox go to Montreal, where they will take on yesterday's Twins opponent, the Toronto Blue Jays, in an exhibition series. And then, while the Twins just take a bus ride from D.C. to Baltimore, the Red Sox will fly from Montreal to Cleveland to open up the regular season. And Gibson with a first pitch strike. Dustin Pedroia has had a real good spring for the Red Sox.
Well, if the Red Sox had a heart and soul type player, that would be this guy right here. Of course, David Ortiz, who's a DH here this afternoon, is in his last season. But over the years, this guy is kind of like our Brian Dozier, I'd have to say. Both of them play second base. Both of them like to get their uniforms dirty. And they play hard. Very, very intense players.
Wind playing tricks with Dalton Hicks, who's the first baseman. That ball landed near the tarp. Could have been, probably should have been caught. It was not. And so Pedroia will stand up there again with an 0-2 count. You know, one of the things I'm sure John Farrell appreciates about Pedroia, he's one of those guys you don't have to worry about. If he's healthy, you put him in the lineup and you know that you'll get an awful lot of effort. And the ball chopped towards short. And Santana playing it short, throws low, dug out by Hicks at first. So Hicks could not track the pop-up, but he does a nice job scooping out Santana's low throw. And of course, we remember Santana was the starting shortstop last year, and he had some the throwing issues last year at short.
Well, take a look at this pitch right here. I think that's the slider or the curveball that Kyle has been working so much on this spring. That ball had some good downward plane, good down in the strike zone. All Pedroia could do is beat it into the ground. Good pitch by Gibson. Good defense behind him.
Xander Bogaerts will hit and hit third for the Red Sox. Gibson misses the inside corner.
Kyle with a good sinking fastball, slider, the curveball that he's really working on this spring, and then also a changeup. He also moved on the pitching rubber from last year. He used to be on the first base side of that pitching rubber. Now he's more on the third base side. And I talked to him about that, not only on the winter caravan, but also here in spring training, why he just feels comfortable over at that side.
Rosario retreats, and that ball will run off the wall. Bogaerts will run to second, and Rosario's throw. Save! A nice slide by Bogaerts as he slipped Beresford's tag. But true to form, Rosario's throw strong and on target, and he nearly got another Grapefruit League assist.
Yeah, Bogaerts for a second, I don't think he knew whether to slide on the outfield side or the infield side. Breaking ball down, Bogaerts hits it solidly over the head of Rosario. Rosario plays the carom and then showing off that not only strong but accurate arm. And then Bogaerts sliding on the infield side, kind of slid around the tag, able to get that left hand on the bag. So a double for Bogaerts. It's his third double of the spring.
The extended ovation for David Ortiz, who announced during the winter that this would be his last season. He's been in training camps for 20 years as a professional baseball player, and oddly, all 20 of those spring trainings have been here in Fort Myers. First with the Twins, of course, and then for the Red Sox. And Ortiz will go through his swan song of a tremendous career.
No, he's not having the best of spring, but you know, he knows he's getting ready for opening day.
One strike to Ortiz.
Big Papi, what a career he has had. 14th season with the Boston Red Sox after 6 with the Twins. Came up with the Twins back in 1997 to 2002, and then over to the Red Sox. Over 500 major league home runs.
And the count 2-1 to Ortiz. With Michael Kadire retiring, Torrey Hunter retiring. A.J. Pierzynski is still, I believe, catching for the Atlanta Braves. Now inside. Ortiz and Pierzynski are the lone holdovers from that 2002 Twins team that survived the winter of contraction and won a division title.
Ortiz right on top of the plate.
3-1 from Gibson. Speed pitch hits the corner. So on 3-1, Gibson, like he threw a straight change.
Ortiz did not like the call. Yeah, you have first base open. It's early, in spring, but you have to take these like game situations during the regular season. This is a guy that has so many RBIs. We talked about the home runs, over 500. Be very careful here. And on second, first base open, 2 outs.
And Gibson comes back to strike out Ortiz. Stranded. Bogart's at second base. He'll scoreless first inning. And yes, as mild as the winter has been back home, it'll be a while before Minnesotans, North-South Dakotans, and people in Twins territory will be able to sit out in the grass on a blanket and shorts and T-shirts. Twins lineup for the Grapefruit League finale has Byron Buxton leading things off. He's in the box already. Santana, Sano, Arcia, Rosario, Nunez. And Buxton hooks it foul behind Gene Glenn. Dalton Hicks, John Ryan Murphy, and James Beresford.
And it'll be Clay Buchholz on the mound here this afternoon for the Red Sox. And if the Red Sox want to compete, of course, they went out and spent a lot of money on the left-handed David Price, the opening day starter. They need this guy to stay healthy, something he's been unable to do over the last 6 seasons.
Off the plate, 1-1.
Buchholz has very good stuff. He saw the little cutter like a fastball, slider. Very good curveball. Has always had very good control, but he's had so many different injuries that have put him on a disabled list.
That ball will die in front of the left fielder Brock Holt, and Buxton is aboard. Hitting out of the leadoff spot. Typically this year he's hit ninth, but I think eventually the Twins would like him to take over that leadoff spot. But with Brian Dozier out of the lineup, Buxton gets a chance there today.
Yeah, ball left middle in. Buxton putting a good swing on, and the speedy Buxton now at first base.
Putting on his sliding wrist guard on his left wrist. Remember, he jammed his thumb last year, one of the injuries he dealt with in his rookie season. Actually, and this is worth bringing up, at least we hope it's very pertinent in 2016. Buxton did not burn his rookie season last year. He had just enough just few enough at bats, plate appearances, to retain his rookie status. And the Twins figure to have a pretty good rookie crop this year with Buxton, technically a rookie. And of course, Byung-Ho Park is a rookie, even though he's a seasoned professional from Korea.
Well, speaking of good springs, which we were talking about, how about this guy at the plate, Danny Santana? My goodness. He has had an outstanding spring training. hitting .357. Driven in 11 runs.
He's hitting in 2016, albeit spring training, but he's hitting so far this year like he hit in 2014. And we mentioned he was the starting shortstop last year. This year he figures to be a super utility player, both in the outfield and the infield. He's played 6 different positions down here in Florida. The 3 outfield positions, third base, short, and second. And he said, of course, I'll play first base if they want me to, but Twins are pretty deep at first base.
He wants that number 39 to wear in that major league uniform. That's what you want right there. Keep an eye on Buxton. 2 stolen bases in 3 attempts.
Little pop up short center. And Jackie Bradley Jr. over to make the catch. 1-1.
Change up right there. Had Santana a little out front. Twins, one thing they have done, Dick, is they've run the bases very well as far as stolen bases. 24 stolen bases in 27 attempts. And that's one thing I think Paul wanted to really improve on this spring, is utilize his speed, but utilize it in a positive way. Just don't run at any time. Run in the right situations.
Don't expect we'll see this lineup very often, if at all, during the regular season. But you could imagine Buxton stealing, say, during a Santana at bat. I don't know how much running they will do with Sano at the plate. Sano, with tremendous power, can hit a home run to make it 2-0, or can hit a double, and with Buxton's speed, make it 1-0. There's very little advantage, I would imagine, in Buxton trying to steal during a Sano at bat. But we'll see what happens.
And Clay Buchholz's pretty quick home too. He will utilize that slide step, which sometimes, you know, good base stealers like a Buxton have a little tough time picking up how he delivers home and how quick he is at home.
Down low. Now, all that said, this is a spring training game, and if the Twins want to build up Buxton's confidence, and as much as confidence, his fearlessness, maybe, the Twins may ask him to try to steal a bag here. There will be times if Buxton hits 9th, for instance, where he'll be on base and be at first base maybe, and Sano hitting 3rd, where we expect him to hit. Might come up with Buxton still at first base, and might not see too many stolen base attempts with this big man at the plate. 1-2 to Sano. And an off-speed pitch. It's a swing and a miss, 2 away.
Yeah, good changeup right there by Buchholz. Picks up a strikeout, his first of the ball game.
That'll bring up Oswaldo Arcia.
Took something off, and Sano a little out front.
Arcia started out slowly at the plate and has picked it up considerably. Drove in a run with a sharp single to right in yesterday's game. And on the outside corner, a strike. Arcia, the designated hitter. An extreme pole shift in the infield. Arcia nearly has 90 feet of open space on the left side of the infield. Up and in, and it's 2-1. It'll be interesting to see where Arcia gets his at-bats, where he will be in the lineup, not so much in the batting order, but whether it will be as a DH, say for a Park, giving him a bit of a break against some right-handed pitching.
Yeah, Paul Molitor, Tom Bernansky, they will try to get Arcia as many bats as possible.
Tap foul.
But you look at Arcia as the summer goes on, if he stays healthy and he does produce, a guy that can come off the bench and maybe pinch hit late in the ball game. Twins right now down to their 25-man roster, and Arcia out of options, made the ball club. You have Nunez on the bench. You have Santana, Danny Santana, creates some excitement on the bench, and also Murphy, the backup catcher.
2-2 to the Twins DH. A high fastball got him. And that's been Arcia's nemesis in his big league career. Buchholz goes upstairs to strand Buxton at first. Florida, the Twins have drawn very well coming into this game, having sold out most of their games here at Hammond Stadium. 10 of the 14 games have been sellouts here.
Yeah, they've averaged over 8,000 per game here. Very, very nice crowd. Of course, a lot of Boston fans as Twins fans.
Hanley Ramirez, Travis Shaw, and Brock Holt will hit for the Red Sox against Kyle Gibson. Ramirez last year was moved out of the infield to the outfield and left field. It was an unmitigated disaster. Ramirez got hurt out there and did not have a very good year. So now the Red Sox have moved him back to the infield. He'll play first base this year.
He had some injuries last year. Hit only 249, a career almost 300 hitter.
Swing and a miss, 1-1.
Good breaking ball. Great location right there by Gibson. This will be Kyle's 4th season in a Twins uniform. An 11-game winner last year, a 13-game winner 2 years ago. Led the club in innings pitched last year on 194 and 2/3.
And got him in the hand. And Ramirez taking one up and in, and Don Farrell will come out to check on him.
Yeah, the left hand after that good nasty slider away. Gibson went inside. And Ramirez with that high leg kick. He's got a piece of that left hand. Well, how about the Yankees? Andrew Miller breaking his right hand on a line drive, hit back at him. Of course, was going to be the closer until Chapman is activated off that 30-game suspension.
Thankfully, Ramirez looks like he's okay. Now, Miller today said he's going to try to start the season on time, figuring there's no reason why he can't play with a broken right wrist, given the fact he's a left-handed pitcher. Runner at first, and Shaw with a swing and a miss. Red Sox sure made some news today, with Pablo Sandoval making news at the start of camp, showing up tremendously out of shape and overweight. And now on the last day of Grapefruit League play here, John Farrell announcing that Sandoval has been supplanted as the starting third baseman by Shaw. Ramirez takes off, and the pitch fouled over the Boston dugout. The Red Sox are into Sandoval for a lot of years and a lot of money. And while Travis Shaw might not be the long-term answer at third base, the Red Sox deciding today that they're going to go with a more mobile and defensively a better all-around player at third base now than Sandoval.
Yeah, Shaw, 25 years old. Last year hit .270 in 65 ball games for the Red Sox. Yeah, Sandoval signing that huge contract 2 winters ago with the Boston Red Sox, worth over $100 million.
1-2 to Shaw. And off the plate, 2-2. The Red Sox are hoping that by moving Ramirez back to the infield and that they won't have more than the one bad contract Sandoval to deal with in future years. Ramirez has something to prove himself. Pop up wide of third. Over for a look is Nunez. And he has room in the warning track in front of the Twins dugout. One away. Bring up Brock Holt. And what was otherwise a disappointing year last year for the Red Sox, Holt stepped up and became a fan favorite very quickly. Super utility player. We talked about Danny Santana playing pretty much everywhere, and that's what Holt did last year. Gibson, a ground ball pitcher by trade, hoping to get one here. And that's off the foot of Holt. Ouch.
Yeah, Holt last year 129 games, hit .280. Not much power, more of a line drive type hitter. Pretty good speed if he gets on. And that will slow him down a little bit. Right off the right foot. Yep. Right on top.
One strike to Holt. Another pop up down the left field line. Rosario with catch. A little bit of wind blowing out towards right field, right center field. And I think that's kept the 2 pop-ups, both the one that Rosario caught and the one that Nunez caught, kept them on the field of play.
Seems like here, I live here, but every day the wind is a different direction.
Yeah, I would agree with that based on what I've seen here in March. Yesterday the wind was blowing from in from right field. Now it's blowing out to right. Here's Blake Swihart. And Gibson shaves the outside corner.
Swihart just 23 years old. This will be his 2nd season with the Red Sox.
Another pop-up. Just one ground ball out. And Rosario comes in to make the catch. 3 pop-ups off of Gibson. And Ramirez is left at first.
Minnesota Twins Spring Training Baseball is brought to you by Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places.
No score as we get ready for the bottom of the second inning. Kids opening day is April 17th. The Twins taking on Mike Trout and the Angels. And kids will have the opportunity to participate in special honorary activities by entering the Twins Kids Opening Day contest. Winning kids will receive 4 tickets to Kids Opening Day, a Kids Opening Day t-shirt, and the first 5,000 kids 14 and under will get a Brian Dozier Kids glove. For more details, visit twinsbaseball.com/kids. Talk so much about the season opening up on the road. There's Rosario bunting foul. First homestand is a nice one, including 3 with the White Sox, 3 with the Angels, and a couple with the Brewers. So when the Twins finally get to Target Field, they'll be there for a little more than a week. Rosario, Nunez, and Dalton Hicks against Clay Buchholz.
Yeah, good try of an attempt right there by Rosario, because Shaw was playing near short. And he tried to lay down a bunt toward that third base line. Shaw now moving over a little bit and in the third baseman.
Twins haven't bunted often enough, I think, in the manager's mind, or well enough, although yesterday Brian Dozier dropped down a bunt single. Hook foul.
I think the big thing, Dick, is like Rosario right here leading off an inning. You look at the defense now. Shaw with 2 strikes is going to back up, but that's about where he was when this at bat started. So that's why Rosario just trying to lay down that ball down that third base line. Easy base hit if he could have done it.
1-2. And another bouncer foul. Twins have won 7 games in a row, 9 of the last 10 down here. Maybe more importantly than the wins themselves, they're playing low-scoring, competitive games. There aren't any 12-7 wins or anything like that. They've all been lower-scoring games like they hope to play when the regular season starts. And Rosario fights off another one.
Starting pitching has been very, very good. Twins are hitting about 270 as a ball club.
4-3 win yesterday, 6-2 the game before, 6-4, 5-2, 3-0, 6-1. Now, all that said, the Twins have been facing some skeleton lineups. That is a fair ball. Nice pickup by Ramirez. And he feeds Buchholz. Good play by the former shortstop. One away.
Yeah, you know, I care where you put him. Ramirez, outstanding. You know, he had trouble in left field playing that green monster at Fenway Park. He did get injured last year, but this is an outstanding play. Going to his left, the ball had a chance to go down the line, but Ramirez cuts it off. And then shovel pass over to Buchholz. Your responsibility as a pitcher, get over there. Buchholz did. Nice play.
1 down, and here's Eduardo Nunez. Down and away in the dirt, ball 1.
Yeah, we got a second here. I just got a text from Jamie Ogden. He's with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. His father, Larry, is not doing very well, and we want to say, Larry, keep strong, buddy, and God bless you.
Down low, 2-0. Nunez getting the start at third base. Trevor Plouffe had a good spring this year at the plate and in the field. Nunez gets buzzed inside. 3-0.
Nunez, a guy that can play a lot of different positions, not only infield, also needed if be in the outfield.
And down the middle of strike. On the outside corner. And David Ortiz not all that happy with the ball strike calling by home plate umpire Junior Valentine.
He's swinging a bat, boys. This is the last day here in Fort Myers for both these ball clubs.
3-2. And there's ball 4.
They tried the curveball right there and missed. First walk for Buchholz. We'll go with the 1 out here in the second.
A lot of teams wrapping things up down here today and heading on the road for exhibition series or whatever. I see some interesting inclusions into the lineup, like Dalton Hicks wearing number 99 up in Lakeland. Game the Tigers are playing. Justin Verlander pitching, and he just gave up a home run to his younger brother Ben. Now,
bragging rights right now are Ben's.
There goes Nunez, and he is safe at second base with a stolen base.
Swihart's throw a little bit on the second base side. Bogarts has to reach for it, but Nunez picks up a stolen base. His second of the spring.
Nunez has to do stuff like that. His asset, his best asset, are his legs.
And losing his helmet.
And losing his helmet. So now he's in scoring position for Hicks. 1-0.
Yeah, Hicks, 25 years old. Last year started in Double-A, had some injuries, ended up going to Fort Myers, and then back to Double-A throughout the summer. 4 minor league seasons for Hicks. A .267 hitter. Got some pop in that bat at 6'5", 245 is where they list Hicks. Born in Orlando, Florida. Twins signed him out of the University of Central Florida back in 2012.
Chopped up the middle, fielded by Pedroia. That's out number 2 with Nunez going to third. Just thinking about the Verlander situation. I know absolutely nothing. Well, that's not true. I know a little bit about Justin Verlander's personal life, but assuming his parents are alive, okay? Justin Verlander has probably built for his parents a palace, a beautiful, gorgeous home with all the money that he's made. But Ben Verlander, forever, well, when they have the family reunions, will be able, in front of his mom and dad, say, oh yeah, Justin got you the house, but I got Justin. I took him deep.
He will always have the last word.
Here is John Ryan Murphy, acquired by the Twins from the Yankees for Aaron Hicks. 1-0. Murphy's not had a good spring at the plate. It's fisted down the right field line near the tarp, and Ramirez can't quite close on it in time. 1-1.
Yeah, John Ryan Murphy, just 24 years old. We'll get to know him throughout the summer. He'll be the backup catcher to Kurt Suzuki. 3 seasons with the Yankees. In those 3 seasons, a .267 hitter. 4 major league home runs.
One of them against the Twins and Glenn Perkins last year. 1-1. And a pitch up high. What the Twins are hoping for John Ryan Murphy is what the Pirates realized with Francisco Cervelli, who was the backup catcher in New York before Murphy showed up on the scene. Cervelli became an everyday catcher for the Pirates and just took off. And the Twins are hoping that eventually John Ryan Murphy will perhaps become the regular catcher for the Twins, and with everyday playing time become a very productive hitter. Down and away, 3-1.
You know, we get to look at numbers of certain players, and sometimes you'll see catchers, especially backup catchers like a Drew Butera, I'm going to pick him out, that are, you know, maybe 200 type hitters. But Murphy does bring some nice credentials from the minor leagues. A career .263 hitter in 6 minor league seasons, all with the Yankees. Last year hit .277 in 67 games for the Yankees.
Pitch is up, and now I believe the count is 3-2.
Buchholz, a 2-time All-Star for the Red Sox back in 2010 and 13. And as I mentioned at the top of the show about Buchholz, Red Sox need him to find a way to stay healthy. 6 seasons in a row. The last 6 he's been on a disabled list, not for a short period of time, but an extended period of time.
Second walk of the inning, and that'll bring Beresford up with 2 men on. When you look at the Red Sox rotation, and obviously they've got one of the best pitchers in the game, David Price. Buchholz, if he's healthy, can be a very adequate number 2, but then there are a lot of question marks for the Red Sox, and I think, you know, looking at the Twins rotation 1 through 5, you would have, I think, have to give the Twins potentially the advantage over the Red Sox. They don't have David Price, but the Twins 1 through 5 think that they've got a pretty balanced rotation.
And I think that's what's going to be exciting as the summer goes on. If these 5 starters for the Twins can stay healthy.
Down the middle of strike.
I think you've got 3 guys that can pitch at least 300 or 200 innings. Sorry, I lost
Good
my
heavens.
You've got Santana, Gibson, starter today, and then Phil Hughes. And you got hopefully Ricky Nolasco can stay healthy throughout the summer. And Tommy Malone. Those guys, if you can get 260, 270 out of them, I think that'll be a very solid season for the staff, starting staff.
Nice stop at second by Pedroia. Beresford has a hit taken away by the former MVP. Very nice play by Dustin Pedroia. And the Twins strand 2 in the second. A couple of guys figured to be in the opening day lineup Monday in Baltimore. Joe Mauer, Kurt Suzuki not in the lineup today. And we go to the third inning. Jackie Bradley Jr. will lead things off for the Red Sox. Twins will host the Red Sox in June at Target Field. And then again this year, and this is not a bad thing. This is not a complaint. But it seems like an annual occurrence. The Twins will play 4 games in Boston. We don't play that many 4-game series, particularly outside the American League Central, but it seems like every year we're in Boston for 4 games.
Yeah, I like that.
I do too.
I love going to Fenway Park.
Bradley Jr. with a check swing 1-1.
You know, in the open we talked about the young outfielders for the Minnesota Twins with the Rosario at 24, Buxton and Sano at 22. In Boston, they're going to start off with a couple youngster. Bradley only 25. Betts, who's on deck, he's only 23 years old. Now, Bradley came up at just 22 years old back in 2013 with the Red Sox.
Swing and a miss, 2-2. Breaking ball, cutting inside. You know, I think it's fair to say in the games that I've seen, and I've seen most of them here, a couple on the road, the Twins starters have been, at least in spring training games, more reliant on off-speed stuff. We've seen an improved breaking ball for Ricky Nolasco, and there's a walk to Jackie Bradley Jr. starting the third inning. Now, whether that's just a function of them being spring training games and somebody like Gibson, who's admitted he's trying to incorporate a slower breaking ball into his mix,
Something off speed.
right? Whether we see it in the regular season, of course, remains to be seen.
I think it's also the preaching of Neil Allen. You know, Neil Allen last year in his first year, you know, as a pitching coach, you have to get to know a whole new staff. And I think, you know, the pitchers got to know Neil Allen, just talking pitching about changing speeds, adding and subtracting.
Toward the hole and through. Base hit for Betts. And Bradley checks in at second base.
Sometimes you can get the ground ball like he did off the bat of Betts right there, but the ball just found that gap between Nunez and Santana in the left field. So Betts picks up the Red Sox second hit of the ball game and puts runners at first and second with nobody out.
That'll bring up Pedroia. Bouncer to short his first time up. Red Sox have had 4 batters reach in the first 10 plate appearances, 2 via hits and a hit batter and a walk. And a base hit to right. Bradley had to hold up momentarily. And Sano on the fly throws to Murphy.
Well, both hitters, Betts and Pedroia, jumping on that first pitch. The bases are loaded with nobody out. Brian Butterfield, the third base coach, talking to Bradley. Pedroia, such a good hitter over his career. Came into this season a .299 career hitter in his 11th season with the Red Sox.
Bogarts with a double. Banging one off the fence in left field over Rosario's head. Bases loaded, nobody out. We'll see if Gibson can get out of this with the minimum amount of damage. Foul back, a strike.
Bogart's just 23 years old, born in Aruba. He's part of our WBC Dutch Netherlands team.
We got that going again next year, right?
Yes, we do. 2017. We will actually, the Dutch Netherlands team, we will start in Korea next year.
Now you say we. Have you already been named as the pitching coach?
I talked to Hensley Mullins, our manager. Bam Bam, the hitting coach for the Giants, who's our manager in the WBC.
I thought you'd be running for his job.
He invited me back.
I don't want to manage. You don't want to manage?
Too much pressure. No. I want to run. I want to run my pitchers. I like to see them run.
You run with them?
Sometimes, yeah. But it's late at night.
Should be 2. Santana scoops. And a double play. Run scores, but just what Gibson needed there. A ground ball double play sharply hit to Santana.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect for Kyle Gibson right there. After a walk, that always hurts. That leadoff walk, then 2 straight base hits. Able to get the ground ball. You see the pitch about knee high. And the nice turn of the middle infield to complete the double play.
Scoring, Bradley from third base, and now here's Ortiz. So what will your schedule be next year for the WBC? When will you be gone from here? Are you going to be able to do these telecasts next year?
I'm not sure. All I know is it depends on how far we go. Like, you know, in 2013, we went all the way to the finals in San Francisco. That carried us into March. We'll start probably in middle of February in Arizona again because of Henley Mullins' relationship with the Giants. We'll have our spring training there for 2 or 3 weeks. And then we'll head out to Korea. And if we win there, 2 of the 4 teams advance. We would go to Japan, what I understand, and then the finals, I believe, are going to be in Seattle for the WBC. That's what I've been told.
2-0, and Ortiz takes outside 3-0. Well, you've got a great opportunity to learn some Korean from Byung-ho Park.
Yes,
you could ask him to teach you the key words that you'll need in Korea.
Cheeseburger.
3-0 to David Ortiz. Chop toward first.
Nice play by Hicks.
Gets the first hop. And that's pretty good damage control for Gibson. Bases loaded, nobody out. And the Red Sox get just 1. Brought to you by the beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel. You can find your island, find warm white sand beaches, find the moments that always end too soon but become memories forever. Visit FortMyersSanibel.com. Byron Buxton to lead off the third. Twins down a run. Outside ball one. You would think with the great agricultural school at the University of Minnesota, they'd find a way, some sort of a strain of a palm tree that would grow in Minnesota. Wouldn't it be nice to have palm trees in Minnesota?
Yeah, good question. I don't know why they would not grow there.
Because of the 25 below weather might have something to do with it.
But other trees do. They hold their own.
They go dormant and all that. But man, in the dead of winter, when it is 25 below, it'd be nice to just
walk out your front yard and see a palm tree.
See a palm tree. 2-1 to Buxton. He's picked it up a little bit as of late at the plate. There is absolutely no concern about what he'll give the Twins defensively, both with his arm and his range in center field. Chop foul, 2-2. He has worked almost every other day on bunting drills, but we haven't seen that in play yet, at least effectively.
I think what Tom Bernansky, and I've talked to Tom about that, they want just good contact. Just make better contact than he did last year.
And having good competitive at bats with 2 strikes.
Like that, fouled off a high fastball. Last year, 129 at bats for Buxton in 46 games. He struck out 44 times. That's about 1 every 3 at bats. And for a speedy guy like Buxton, just make contact. And I mean, he can beat out an infield base hit to short with his speed.
Two and 2. On the ground, but hard, right at the shortstop Bogarts. And he still made it a close play.
But what he does bring is that speed. So the Bogarts and the shortstops of the world, I don't believe that's Bogarts anymore at short. They have to hurry their throw.
Yeah, you're right. The Red Sox made a change at short already.
7. We'll find out who.
Mauricio Dubon. One down, and that'll bring up Danny Santana. Santana with a fly to center his first time up. On the ground, sharply hit, picked up by Ramirez. He's made 2 fine plays over there, 2 down.
Santana hitting the ball sharply. Ramirez, a little back-handed play and shovel pass over to Buchholz, getting there quickly.
I'll bet Brian Butterfield will have a word with Ramirez about that. That one was kind of
a little bit on the high side.
Right, and it was about a 30-foot flip that might be better served overhand.
Go toward the chest.
Right. Here's Sano. And a breaking ball inside, ball 1. Another breaking ball. Hits the corner, 1-1. A little bit low.
Yeah, Buchholz, 73 major league wins, 51 losses, a very good ERA, under 4 in his career, 3.85. His best season came in 2010 when he was a 17-game winner for the Red Sox.
On the ground, 2 hops to third. Shaw is there. Strong arm. One of the reasons the Red Sox will start the season with Shaw and not Sandoval as their third baseman. your suites here at Hammond Stadium. And Target Field suites are available for single game rental of groups of 16 to more than 150. Enjoy a climate controlled atmosphere, a fantastic view of the game, all with food and beverage included. Go to twinsbaseball.com/groups or call 800-33-TWINS. Dick and Bert with you. Final Grapefruit League game of the spring for the Twins. Hanley Ramirez got hit in the left hand by a Gibson pitch leading off the second. He appears to be fine, still in the game. Some of the Boston regulars have been replaced. A deep drive to left, and the veteran responds to a plunking with a blast.
Well, we saw in last inning, Betts and Pedroia jumped on that first pitch, and here Ramirez got a pitch to his liking, middle in, and hit his second home run of the spring, and it's a 2-0 Red Sox lead.
That has to feel good if you're a hitter. No one's suggesting, and Ramirez, I'm sure, not suggesting either, that Gibson hit him on purpose, but you get hit by a pitch, and you think, well, that hurt, and how can I hurt the pitcher? You do it by doing that. Wow.
Yeah, that hurts. I can attest to that.
I don't know.
That U.S. Bank CenturyLink sign.
Up and away, ball one. Again, Travis Shaw, named by John Farrell, is the starting third baseman for the Red Sox, and not Pablo Sandoval. Bounced wide of first. 1-1. I think the Red Sox are going to be in a very balanced, competitive division like the Twins are in the American League Central. I think I mentioned this on one of our earlier broadcasts together. I just see the whole American League, all three divisions, being very balanced. And we always talk this year about you hope that your team is healthy. And it might be in all three divisions the healthiest team. Over the left, a base hit. The healthiest team might be the team that wins the division. I think in just about every case you can make a case, maybe not in the Central. I think most people are finally conceding that the Royals have a really good team, having been to the World Series 2 years in a row. But just about everywhere else, I think you can make a case for a team winning the division, but be prepared that they may finish in last in their division.
Yeah, I mean, right now in the Western Division, I'm looking at the Angels. The Astros have been getting better. Texas has improved. Seattle has pretty good pitching. And Oakland, they always come up with a pretty good season. So, yeah, in the Western. Eastern, of course, Toronto Blue Jays are probably the team to beat.
Angels have the best player in baseball, at least in our league, with Mike Trout. Brock Holt hit a fly to left his first time up.
And you have a couple teams in the National League that are kind of rebuilding again. Of course, the Atlanta Braves kind of cleaned house, and
Reds,
Cincinnati, yep.
Brewers, even the Padres, after being, the offseason darlings just a year ago. Tapped foul.
Now, James Shields is still with the Padres, I believe.
In fact, there were some rumors, and I don't know, I can't understand why the Padres would be interested in this, but there were rumors that Shields was being discussed being swapped to the Red Sox for Sandoval. But what on earth would the Padres do with an out-of-shape Pablo Sandoval? Cracked foul. I mean, if the Padres are going to go through a rebuilding phase, Sandoval would seem to be counterproductive to that. But yes, James Shields, whether he fulfills his multi-year commitment with the Padres remains to be seen, but he's back with them again. High down the left field line, and Rosario hoping for some room, wind helping him. Again, the wind blowing from the left field foul line out toward right field, and Rosario with the catch, one away.
Yeah, second time that Holt has hit a ball right down that left field line that Rosario has gone to retrieve.
Well, my prediction was that in the American League, no team will win fewer than 70. No team will win more than 90. With a lot of teams in that 75 to 85 range.
That'll make for a nice summer.
If it's
an exciting summer.
If for a change I'm right, that would make for an interesting
it would be
series.
Amazing if you were right.
1-0. You know, one of the criticisms, one of the points of analysis of the Twins this year is that they don't have a David Price or a #1 type of starter. But then, you know, I think USA Today said something to the effect that the Twins have a bunch of starters who are #3 starters. And while that might be a fair criticism, you look at the Royals, and until they acquired Johnny Cueto, and that was their rotation. Pretty much they had James Shields 2 years ago when they got to the World Series, but I think it's safe to say, I think even people in Kansas City might say that the Royals won the World Series last year in spite of their starting pitching, not because of it.
Exactly. What a strong bullpen they have, but they can't rely on that year after year.
Chopped toward first and foul.
Holland already went down.
And the bullpen got better because Wade Davis
put in that role.
So you don't know, and you'd like to think, if you're a Twins fan, that this balance that they have in the rotation. I mean, my goodness, Nolasco was at the time the biggest free agent acquisition the Twins had 2 years ago, 2 winters ago. And he's going to be the 5th starter. Awful swing, strike 3, and safe at second base. Swihart struck out, and taking off on the play, Travis Shaw has a steal of second.
Yeah, Shaw stealing his second base of the spring in 3 attempts. Got a very good jump right there. Murphy's throw on the second base side. Santana getting it and then tagging the helmet of Shaw, but Shaw gets his speed on the bag before the tag can be applied.
If this were a regular season game, that play might have been reviewed. It might have appeared from that angle that the tag was on with the runner Shaw not in contact with the second base bag. On the ground, and a fair ball knocked down, but not controlled by Hicks. Here comes a run around third, throw to the plate, not in time. Beresford's throw up the line a little bit. And on to second base goes Jackie Bradley Jr.
Swihart getting a changeup and just hitting it right down that line. Was it going to go fair? Was it going to go foul? Could be Bradley hitting this ball. Scooting away from Hicks. He has no chance.
And Beresford with a reaction throw toward home, a little bit off target. Should be an RBI single for Bradley. He goes to second on the throw, and it's 3-0. 6 hits for the Red Sox. And a bluff toward second. Mookie Betts the batter. Off-speed pitch over for a strike. Twins are hoping that Gibson can take a step forward from marginally improved seasons the last couple of years. Down and away a ball.
Well, one thing he has done, he's brought that earned run average down every year from 2013 to 5.6, and in the last 2 full seasons, 4.47 a couple years ago. Last year, 3.8.
I think the Twins envision him being able to settle in with an ERA in the low 3s, over 200 innings, as you preached.
I think in today's game, if you could have an earned run average as a starter under 3, or excuse me, under 4, that's right about what you want to be. It used to be under 3 was the mark, but now it's because I think pitchers aren't going as deep that ERA has come up. Breaking ball there.
All strike 1 and 2. Now I'm imagining you with an ERA of 3.86. going into Mr. Griffith's office and asking for a raise from the prior year because you had an ERA of under 4.
I'd be going in asking over my AAA contract.
Swing and a miss. The inning starts with a home run by Ramirez. Red Sox add another run after that, and it's 3-0. It's time to start the regular season. It's 11 minutes after 2 o'clock. And the Twins will head up to D.C. after today's game to play a couple of exhibition games against the Nationals. Missing ball 1, an off-speed pitch. And then 3 weeks after that, the Twins will be in D.C. to play the Nationals in games that actually count. Middle of the Twins lineup starting with Arcia, then Rosario and Nunez, and the Twins 4. Called strike 1-1 with Arcia backing away.
Buchholz has only given up 1 hit, and that was Buxton's base hit in the first inning, leading off the ball game for the Twins in the bottom of the first. Good changeup right there by Buchholz.
One and 2 with Arcia staring again at a wide open left side of the infield. Sandoval is the lone man in the game now for the Red Sox on the left side of the infield. Popped up left center field. And the wind chasing it out towards center. And a basket catch made by Holt, 1 away. One down, and that'll bring up Rosario. Rosario was 6th in the American League Rookie of the Year voting. Miguel Sano was 3rd last year. And we talked about Buxton retaining his rookie status for this year along with Byung-Ho Park. This one's gone. That one's long gone. And Rosario tees off, putting the Twins on the board. It's 3-1.
Yeah, his 3rd home run of the year. That was a no-doubter. Like Ramirez did in the top of the inning against Gibson, jumping on that first pitch. Rosario got a pitch that he hammered into the right field bleachers.
And that'll bring up Nunez. And now Nunez, who walked his first time up, squares to bunt, bunts it to the screen. Tried to bunt in front of Sandoval. We're talking about Rosario, 6th in the American League in Rookie of the Year voting. The Twins had a strong rookie presence last year with Rosario and Sano and Duffy, who didn't make the team in the pitching rotation coming out of spring training. Crack to the right side.
It's Alan Craig over there now taking it himself.
2 down. And you'd like to have Rookie of the Year winners, and the Twins have had more than their share since coming to Minnesota in 1961. But for the team, especially a team that had 4 straight losing seasons, probably better to have 2 guys in the top 6 than somebody winning it outright. There's Dalton Hicks. Twins haven't had a Rookie of the Year since Marty Cordova in '95. So they're about due to have another one. One and 0. And now a strike.
Prior to that, it was Chuck Knobloch, was it not?
Yeah. 5 in Twins history, starting with Mr. Oliva. Then Mr. Carew, John Castino, Chuck Knobloch, and Marty Cordova. Just off the plate. Castino actually shared the award in 1979 with Alfredo Griffin, and when Cordova won it, it was at the time the closest balloting that determined a winner other than the tie that involved Castino. Marty Cordova just barely beat out Garrett Anderson in 1995.
Boy, Anderson was a good player for the Angels.
And that's, we talk about rookies of the year, but in terms of measuring careers, I think you'd have to give Anderson the edge over Cordova. 2-2. Chopped into the shift. And Hicks is retired. The Twins get on the board. Eddie Rosario cranks one out to right. A little help from the wind, but he didn't need any help with this one. Now that's out there where you like to watch the game, right? Is that down in the left field? You like to?
If that's out in the left field, yes. Bring my grandkids here during the summertime when I'm not doing the games. I'll watch a miracle play.
Now what? You got the same schedule this year, right? You're doing
yes, sir. 100.
100 games.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Jack Morris did yesterday's telecast down here. He'll be in the mix. Roy Smalley will be in the mix. Great pre and post game contingent, including those guys, and Tom Hanneman, Anthony LaPanta, Tim Laudner is going to be involved. Tom Kelly, we hope, will offer his expertise from time to time. Red Sox in front 3-1. Josh Rutledge, the batter, and that one hit foul. Rutledge in for Pedroia, who got 2 at bats. As a group, we will televise minimum 150 games. The Twins, as most of you know, play 162, so there will be the odd game that we are not televising. And there's a blast to center field. Buxton going back. Oh, what a catch by Buxton! What a catch by Byron Buxton!
Yeah, just get up.
Oh my goodness! A beeline, a perfect route on this drive to center field. And he will have center field covered just fine.
My, oh my. Look at this ball right over the head of Buxton, going back, reaching out at the last second, right before he hit that warning track. Great concentration.
You know,
what a catch. What a catch.
Twins didn't do anything on the field today. They took some swings in the batting cage, and I was here about 9:30, I suppose, this morning, and Butch Davis, the outfield instructor for the Twins, was out in center field working with Buxton, believe it or not, on drills like that. The difference was, here's a ball hit back to Gibson, and he'll make the play. Davis was flipping balls over each shoulder to Buxton, and Buxton was out there catching them without a glove. Now, I think he needed the glove on that one, to be honest. But then, you know, they work on this, and he just took a perfect route to even get to this ball.
That's something you can't teach. That's just pure talent right there by Buxton, able to go back and utilize his speed and agility. Wow, what a catch.
2 down, and here's Ortiz. Well, the Twins have been blessed to have some great center fielders, and we've all heard about Buxton's defensive prowess, the range he showed at various stops in the minor leagues, but that unfortunately is in a game that doesn't count. That's the first time we've seen him with his speed and his instincts catch a ball that I don't think any other center fielder would have caught.
I'll tell you what, in Anaheim, I played with Devon White, and he was an outstanding center fielder. He had that deer-like instincts that they just can glide like a Buxton. And then on the other side, I see Kirby Puckett with his little feet just, you know, running as quick as he can to get to where he needed to be. And, of course, Torrey Hunter, how much he could cover out in center field.
3-0 now to Ortiz. Strikeout and a ground ball, and he takes all the way. Well, it's interesting because Jack worked the last couple telecasts, and we were talking about great center fielders, and he mentioned Devon White, best center fielder that he ever had to play behind him. Now, you don't want to wear him out. But
I did.
That's hit a long way to right field. Buxton's not going to catch it. Sano's not going to catch it. It's a home run for David Ortiz.
The second home run of the ball game for the Red Sox. David Ortiz, that is actually his first spring training home run. Maybe he's getting heated up.
And I'm guessing he will cross home plate, and it's the last time he'll be seen here at Hammond Stadium. This is his last year. This is obviously the last game the Red Sox are playing here. What a great way for him to go out with a long home run to right.
Fastball, middle in. And 503 career home runs. He knew it was gone.
4-1. The Red Sox have hit a couple of home runs against Gibson, a guy who typically doesn't give up too many. That's on the ground. Santana to his left, scoops, and an on-target throw to end the inning. Great play by Byron Buxton. Yeah, Ortiz hit a home run, but you won't see a better catch than the one Byron Buxton made in the top of the fifth. In front. Twins have won 7 straight, trying to come back and win this one. The Twins flex plan gives you the flexibility to choose your games and your number of seats. Choose in advance or even the day of the game. Don't plan, flex plan. Go to twinsbaseball.com/flex or call 800-33-TWINS to learn more. Dick and Bert with you. You're not going with the team to Washington, D.C.
No, we're not televising the games against the Nationals, so I'll meet you Sunday in Baltimore.
I'm going to D.C. and
you're going to straighten out our government?
Meeting with the nation's leaders to try to settle some things. Look, the 9th Supreme Court justice seat, we'll try to get that resolved while I'm there.
Well, good luck to you.
And some other matters. John Ryan Murphy will hit against Craig Kimbrell.
Yeah, Kimbrell, a new face for the Boston Red Sox, now will be their closer.
And Murphy greets him with a sharp single to center. Murphy had a longer plate appearance in the second, coaxed a walk, and now a single to center to start the 5th.
Kimbrell, 27 years old in his first season with the Red Sox, traded over the winter from the San Diego Padres for 4 minor league players. 4-time All-Star. Those with the Atlanta Braves.
Line foul to the screen, 1 strike.
Yeah, Kimbrell has a good fastball, hard curveball, sharp, a slider like big breaking balls, very sharp, and a changeup.
Down and in a ball. Beresford has continued to, through many years toiling in the minor league system. His stock seems to be rising every year just a little bit. An intriguing player. You can play anywhere in the infield, and has here in Florida this March.
Born in Australia, signed by the Twins in 2005 when he was just 16 years old.
I hope he makes it, because just as a novelty, I mean, he's a good player, but I kind of like being called mate every once in a while. Haven't had that since Luke Hughes was here.
Yeah.
It beats what I'm normally called.
Yeah, by me.
But left-handed. Those guys are always nice, particularly infielders, and in this case a utility infielder that can hit left-handed.
Well, he's at that point right now. Last 3 seasons have been in AAA in Rochester, and 9 minor league seasons. Very good numbers. .285 hitter.
Chopper to second, and on the play Murphy goes to second, 1 down.
So when his time is right to come up to the big leagues, you kind of pull for guys like that spent a lot of time in the minor leagues.
Here's Byron Buxton. A single in the first, a liner to left, and then a ground ball to short. Put the barrel of the bat on it, hit it sharply right at the shortstop, and then made not the nicest catch you're going to see by a center fielder. Swing and a miss.
Kimbrell, 39 saves last year for the San Diego Padres in his 5 seasons with the Braves, starting in 2010 to 2014. 186 saves for the Braves.
Inside, 1-1.
Led the National League in saves 4 straight seasons from 2011 to 2014. Well, Boston has a very established and experienced closer.
Ball missing inside. How, if at all, it will translate into the regular season remains to be seen, but the Twins have seen some encouraging signs regarding Buxton and his competitiveness at the plate. We talked about it in one of his earlier at-bats here today. It's a fastball for a strike, 97 miles per hour. But way too often last year, Buxton, when the count got to 2 strikes, whether it was 0-2, 1-2, 2-2, whatever, strike 3 came right away. He chased a lot of pitches out of the strike zone. A little more plate discipline. And at 96, down and away, 3-2.
Well, when you're labeled the #1 prospect in baseball for two years in a row, you come up here and you want to impress everybody right away. I think that's one thing Tom Bernansky, Rudy Hernandez have tried to get Buxton to do. Just relax a little bit, take a deep breath, look for the ball as quick as possible, and just make contact.
Pitch up. He chased, but he got a piece of it. 96-mile-per-hour fastball. Of course, what the Twins would like, the improved plate discipline translating into more walks, just 6 of them in 129 big league at bats. Another 3-2 coming. And another 96-mile-per-hour fastball fouled away.
And these are good at bats for Buxton against a hard throwing reliever. Kimbrel coming into this year 348 innings out of the bullpen. He has struck out 563.
Another 3-2. Breaking ball, and he fought that off. This is the encouragement that they've seen, that, and maybe it's nothing more than just relaxing, but pitch recognition, and of course the mechanical things that a hitting coach is going to work with you on, just having much more competitive at bats.
And I guarantee you, Tom Bernansky and Rudy Hernandez, whatever happens in this at bat, it'll be they'll say, hey, that was a great at bat.
In part because of who it was against.
Right.
This is not somebody wearing number 84 on his jersey. He's one of the best closers in the game, and he's making them work.
Right.
This is a grueling veteran type of at bat. And we'll see if there's a payoff at the end for Buxton. To strike Buxton out last year and in 129 at bats, pitchers did that 44 times. You didn't have to throw 9 or 10 pitches. Third strike. 97 over the inside corner.
Not much you can do about that, but a good at bat for Buxton, even though Kimbrel picks up the strikeout.
Buxton backed away. See where the glove is, and right over the inside corner said Junior Valentine. And now Santana. Strokes solidly to right. Another hit for Santana. Rounding third, heading home. Murphy will score, and it's 4-2.
Well, Santana continues to pick up the RBIs, his 12th of the spring, and continues to swing a hot bat. First pitch jumping on Kimbrel's pitch. Hits it sharply through the infield, and with 2 outs, Murphy's off with a crack of the bat. He scores the second run for the Twins.
And that'll bring Sano to the plate, representing the tying run. One of those matchups, and the Twins have not had someone with Sano's power maybe since Killebrew. I mean, that's how immense a man this is, with tremendous power. And so you got a guy who throws 97, 98, and so you, at least I can't help but imagine what would happen if Kimbrel threw 98 and Sano squared it up.
I'm looking at the rooftops over there and over the left field fence.
How far is Port Charlotte from here? 0-2 to Sano. Santana goes half swing, strike 3, says Junior Valentine. Twins get a couple of singles and a run back in the 5th. They trail by 2. Now Gibson with 5 innings in, and now he gives way to Trevor May in the 6th.
Yeah, Trevor May worked an inning of shutout baseball in yesterday's ball game, so going back-to-back days for Trevor May. If you look at his spring training numbers, some of those innings pitched came early on when he was suspected. He wanted an opportunity to get in that starting rotation, but he's back in that bullpen. It should be a very solid bullpen setting up for Glenn Perkins.
When the Twins made the move last year, sending May to the bullpen, he said it took him about a month to adjust to feeling comfortable doing it. And that's why the decision was made as early as it was this year, to give him some time, not a month, but a few weeks and a half dozen or so appearances to just kind of get back the feel that he had when he was so effective pitching out of the pen last year. Here's Sandoval taking up and away, ball 1.
And I think we talked about it, Dick. What we saw was the increase of his velocity. His fastball went from maybe 92, 93 as a starter in that role to 96, 97 coming out of the bullpen for 1 inning.
Popped up and just beneath us. There isn't much that is.
There's not that much.
There is beneath us. 1-1. Well, this is an issue for the Red Sox. What to do with Sandoval now that he's not going to start at third base. Swing and a miss, 1-2. Now a lot has been made of Miguel Sano's weight and how he's going to carry it in right field, and it is a concern because Sano's only 22 years old. But the Red Sox are into this guy for close to $100 million yet. Chopped foul.
Well, he had the same issues when he was with the Giants. You know, start off behind the plate, and then Buster Posey took over, and they moved him over to third. He's just a big, heavy-set man that had some good years with the Giants. 3 World Series rings that Sandoval got in 2010, 12, and 14 for the Giants. 2-time All-Star. But last year, very frustrating. Had some injuries. Hit only 245.
On the ground sharply right to Nunez, who fires across the diamond. And Nunez getting a chance to do some throwing, and that's significant because he had a throwing slump. We've seen him play for the Twins the last couple of years, and nothing serious in terms of throwing issues, but he had 3 bad throws in a row from the left side of the infield, and it's good to see him throw across on target.
Well, I think what he did right there, he got his legs underneath him. You know what we saw, those throws, and we saw a couple of them, he'd almost throw off his heel.
Right.
And right there, he had plenty of time to set, get your legs underneath you, and let your natural strength of your arm get that ball across the diamond. So good play by Nunez.
Nick Longy is the batter. Two 2-0 the count from May. May hits the outside corner, 94 miles per hour. Velocity doesn't seem to be the issue that it was at one time for the Twins relievers. We've seen from the right side, Jepson hit the mid-90s. May, Presley from time to time will get it up to 94, 95. That's off the mask of Murphy, and Junior Valentine will buy a little time here for Murphy.
Well, Tonkin can get that ball up in the mid-90s. Yeah, some power arms out there.
And Glenn Perkins typically has been in that range, if not a tick or two above, but not yet in spring training. Now Glenn says he's not concerned about it. That, you know, Joe Nathan was a classic example when he was with the Twins. He'd throw 91, 92. Ball hit sharply to center, and we'll see if Buxton can come in and get this one. It lands 40 feet in front of him.
You can't catch all of them.
But Nathan was a guy that, you know, the typical spring for Joe Nathan was, well, he's only throwing 91, 92. Should we be concerned? And then the bell would ring, and Nathan would be there at 95. The one exception to that, oddly, was he came down here, and everybody was talking about Nathan, just lights out, and that's when he blew his elbow out.
That went through the Tommy John. Second time in his career.
Swihart, the catcher.
At that time.
Nathan's trying to get hooked up with somebody. He figures he could help somebody by June, July, maybe.
If it's still in your heart to want to compete, and Joe Nathan, I think he's 41, 42 years old now. You still feel it? Go for it.
Nathan, kind of a long, lanky, although he added an awful lot of muscle in his time in the big leagues, but a good candidate to maybe survive a second Tommy John surgery and pitch effectively for somebody. 1-1. And on a similar subject matter, Johan Santana came through camp here early in March. I didn't see him. I wasn't here that day, but Santana has had an assortment of, well, principally shoulder problems, but then an Achilles tendon and some other things.
He lives not too far from here, out in Miramar.
And
Hart swinging at a pitch out of the strike zone. May picks up his first strikeout, second out of the inning.
had an ugly strike 3 in his 4th inning at bat, and this one wasn't much prettier. 2 down, and that'll bring up Bradley. Twins have won 7 in a row, 9 of the last 10. More importance than the 1-loss record. The Twins have a good one. 18-10-1 is the experience, the conditioning that the players are asked to make. 1-0 to Bradley. You saw that change. I think you pitched until what, 93?
92 was my last
92.
year.
But when you first started coming to spring training, it really was a case where guys came to get in shape.
Right.
And then by the time you left 20 some years later, that had started to change, hadn't it? Here's a ball whistled into right field. And quickly retrieved. Looks like Mastroianni's out there in right field. A single sending Longy from first to third.
Yeah, Dick, I think a lot of things changed because back in the early 70s, a lot of I don't care who you were, you had winter jobs. And a lot of times, you know, you try to condition yourself for spring training, but there was obligations to meet certain payments that you had to get a winter job. And, you know, now I think, you know, the conditioning opportunities are so much better for these young men.
Talking with Phil Roof, who was a great resource talking about baseball history and particularly the financial history. Phil's first year in the big leagues was 1960, and for those of you who've not met Phil, he might be the nicest man on the planet. Yes. Just a wonderful guy and a great guy to talk baseball with. Down and away a ball.
Well, he did it all. I mean, he managed, he coached, he caught so many great pitchers for so many years.
Now we know it was a long time ago, but he broke in 1960. The major league minimum then was $6,000. 6. And when I started broadcasting games in the 80s, the minimum was $32,000. Popped up, and Hicks with the catch. That'll wrap things up. Couple of singles for the Red Sox that are left aboard. Times have changed in baseball. And we head to the bottom of the 6th with the Red Sox.
For the good.
Been set, paired down. You're seeing big leaguers on the field here today, and they've made some big league plays.
Well, we saw some home runs, too. It was Ramirez that added a run for the Red Sox with a home run, and the Twins answered in the bottom of the inning with Rosario's solo home run. And then in the next inning, it was David Ortiz, maybe his last at-bat in Fort Myers with a home run. But we did see some great defensive plays. The highlight right now is Buxton's great catch, over-the-shoulder catch with the dive. Outstanding.
Junichi Tozawa will pitch for the Red Sox. And Oswaldo Arcia will lead things off for the Twins in the bottom of the sixth.
Tozawa now kind of a setup man for the Red Sox. He did some closing for them, but that's kind of been his role since he joined the Red Sox from Japan back in 2009.
Down and in, ball one.
Tozawa, born in Japan, 29 years old, signed as a free agent with the Red Sox in 2008.
Second at bat in a row where Arcia is leading off an inning. Lifted down the left field line, and Holt, fighting the sun, makes the catch. It's not Holt out there anymore. It is Chris Young. So Arcia retired, and it'll bring up Eddie Rosario. Rosario had a hit taken away by first baseman Hanley Ramirez in the second, and then he removed any doubt, clubbing one about 5 rows back in right field for a solo home run. Ball one. We've talked about this over the years, and we talked a couple innings ago about the rookie of the year balloting, Rosario finishing 6th. I think baseball people would endorse having a sophomore of the year because of the adjustments that are needed, and the Twins know all too well how someone can have a great rookie season, have an impact, and they tease you into expecting great things from them in their second year, and it just doesn't work out. Didn't work out for Kenny Vargas, didn't work out for Danny Santana. And Tom Kelly's theory was always that, you know, rookies of the year, well, yeah, that's fine. I want to see what somebody can do for 3 years. And with that in mind, you know, maybe
that was kind of Calvin Griffith's thought.
That was done for financial reasons. Taken for a strike. But really, it probably bodes more for a player's long-term presence in the game if they have a better second year than first year. And so maybe a better precursor for who's going to have a great career would be what they do the second time around when teams have seen them.
Yeah, I think 1,000 major league at-bats is kind of a good starting point to see what kind of player you have. Fastball right off the mask.
Yeah, collarbone, Swihart. You know, we talked about it in the other, with the other context regarding Aaron Hicks, that it would take 1,000 at bats or so, and I think we saw that last year. One of the reasons the Yankees wanted him is they too saw some progress that the Twins had not seen in his first 2 years. 2-2 to Rosario. And that was ball 4, apparently. Okay.
It doesn't matter how old you are, if you're 18 years old or if you're 40 years old. You have to make adjustments throughout your baseball career or any sport career. You have to listen to your body. You have to listen to what it's telling you. And you have to make adjustments as far as also if you're an everyday player.
Travis Harrison, the pinch runner, with Nunez the batter. Fastball off the plate. Plenty of fastball there. Tazawa clocked there at 94 miles per hour. Nunez walked, stole a base, was left at third in the second, and then hit a ground ball to Ramirez at first in the fourth. Breaking ball hits the corner.
I mentioned Tazawa. This would be his 7th season with the Red Sox. A fastball, you mentioned 94. Very good forkball. His out pitch.
Two hopper to third. Sandoval. A chance to double up Nunez, but they get the force at second. Nunez reaches on a fielder's choice. 2 down.
First baseman DJ Hicks.
DJ Hicks, the batter.
Now controlling at first base, number 92, Stephen Wickens.
Stephen Wickens in now for Nunez, the pinch runner at first base. Red Sox have a pull shift on for Hicks.
You know, like Wickens right here, a guy that, you know, spent some time in the minor leagues here, you know, with the minor league clubs right here. Yeah, you couldn't do that in the 70s with the minor leagues over in Melbourne. You know, most of the guys when they started, they didn't have a lot of reserves to give guys, you know, some time off. There's that forkball right there, misses down and away.
Back in the day, if you're Wickens and today you're wearing number 92, believe it or not, this is how things operated, not just the Twins organization. Wickens wearing number 92 might be wearing one of Tony Oliva's old jerseys. They used to recycle the jerseys, and the major league players would, you know, be done with them at the end of the year, and then they would go down to the minor leagues and they would, you know, take the lettering off and the numbering off and continue to use them. And there's a walk to Hicks, first and second with 2 down, and that'll bring up Murphy.
The second walk the Twins have taken this inning.
Murphy's had a couple of good plate appearances, an extended walk in the second, and they jumped on Kimbrel's first pitch, lined a single to center, and scored in the 5th. Twins down a couple of runs, now 2 men aboard. Breaking ball, strike 1. Roughly 3 full seasons of minor league at bats, over 1,700 at bats, and 42 home runs. So Murphy has a little bit of pop. 110 doubles. And I've said over the years that, you know, you can look at slugging percentage and on base plus slugging percentage and all that, but, you know, one of the things I like to look at, that's analyzing the same talent that a player might have, just in a different way. 1 extra base hit for every 10 at bats, and Murphy in the minor leagues almost has done that. 4 triples, 42 home runs.
Well, we kind of talked about that before. As a backup catcher, you know, Murphy is a better hitter than most backup catchers.
Right.
You know, we were talking about Phil Roof earlier, and he walked into the booth. His ears must have been ringing.
Is that right?
Mr. Phil Roof is in the booth. We mentioned Phil, and now you can probably hear me, that you are one of the nicest guys Dick and I have ever been around. He said thank you.
On the ground.
And an outstanding catcher. And big paws. Huge paws.
Twins get a couple aboard. They strand them in the 6th. On to the 7th. It's 4-2 Boston. Baseball to speak of for about 6 months, so you can be forgiven if you want to watch as much baseball as you can now. And with that in mind, live Twins baseball is back this year with MLB.com at bat on your smartphone or tablet. You can stay connected with the Twins all season wherever you are with live radio broadcasts, stats, breaking news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Regular season starts on Sunday. Twins start their regular season on Monday. And Josh Rutledge will lead things off against Ryan Presley.
Trevor May had a clean 6th inning. Presley is out there for the 7th.
And Rutledge will try to do exactly what he did his last at bat, because Byron Buxton is no longer in center field. Hoping for an extra base hit. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Presley showing Paul Molitor some promise. First Molitor as a coach, then last year as a manager before he got hurt. No one was guaranteeing him anything, but I think the manager was really intrigued with Presley and his ability to get strikeouts out of the bullpen. With that pitch.
Outstanding hard breaking ball, a big curveball.
We talk so much about relievers and their ability to strike people out in terms of velocity, but when you pair mid-90s velocity with a breaking ball like that, you can strike a lot of people out.
That's almost the way that I learned my curveball, a drop. It almost went from 12 to 6 if you're looking at your clock.
You have to respect 94, 95 a little bit more than you have to respect 91, and that causes early swings and all that. And Presley's curve most of the time is the north to south drop. One strike now to Bogaerts. The Twins did not do much. And there's 96, a swing and a miss. Twins didn't do much in the offseason to improve the bullpen. In fact, Brian Dunsing was let go. He tried to hook on with the Royals but didn't. High fastball at 96, and Presley very quickly puts Dubon away.
I remember Presley came over as a Rule 5 pickup back in 2012 from the Boston Red Sox organization. And then last year he had some injuries, had that right lat strain that kind of put him on a disabled list.
That was a frightening thing, because Presley didn't know exactly what he had done other than the fact that he had to come out of the game immediately. All right, so back to the breaking ball and a swinging strike. And what the Twins have seen this year is exactly what we've shown you here today with Presley on the mound. A lot of swings and misses.
Well, that first one like a slider that didn't have that straight down break like that one right there. That's more the curveball.
Slider was at 88, that curve at 83.
And you got to like the tempo too. Here's a guy that, and I think he's been doing it since day one. Get on that pitching rubber, get ready to throw, better defense behind you, and throw strikes.
95 up and away. The Twins feel that instead of being an area of concern, the bullpen could be an asset, provided Presley stays healthy, Perkins regains his velocity, and suddenly you're looking at May and Jepson and Presley, and Abad is somewhat of an unknown commodity. The Twins think they've gotten him straightened out again.
I think what the Twins need is a Presley to go 2 or 3 innings, or a Tunkin to go 2 or 3 innings. They need that guy. You have the May, Jepson, maybe Abad as maybe 1 inning type guys, but you're going to need that guy throughout the summer that can give you multi innings out of that bullpen.
And that skips by Santana at third base.
Now that breaking ball just left up, and it stayed about belt high.
Cole Sturgeon was the batter who got the base hit in what was Ortiz's spot. And now Alan Craig hitting in what was Ramirez's spot. We thought, and what do we know? You know a lot more about it than I do, but we thought after Presley's rookie season with the Twins, when he had to be on the roster because of his Rule 5 status, the Twins might send him back down to the minor leagues and groom him as a starter, because he had 2 exceptional pitches, and if he could work on a third, Twins could bring him back as a starter, but instead they left him as a reliever.
Well, I think we thought that because that's all he did in the Boston organization. He started in the minor leagues.
And now 2-0 to Craig.
And they're probably doing the same thing. What are they going to do with J.R. Graham? A Rule 5 pickup last year from the Brave organization. Had to stay with the Twins. He did. Now he's in the minor leagues. They're going to start him. They're going to relieve him.
Runner goes, and the pitch hacked towards first, and a foul ball. First base umpire. Is it Will Little, Joey Amaral, whoever it is?
They're moving around, yeah.
He was standing in foul territory and didn't get a real good look. I don't know enough about umpiring. I don't know if that's where he should be, 3 feet into foul territory. I don't know that he got the best angle on that.
Well, there is a runner at first base, so he has to kind of play behind. He can't really straddle that line.
Well, now he's lined up a little bit closer to the line. Two and 1. And now 2-2.
Well, whatever happens here this afternoon, the Twins come in against the Boston Red Sox. Of the first six games, they've won 5 of them. So they won what used to be the Mayor's Cup.
Now it's the Commissioner's Cup. Safe at first. Rodriguez, the first baseman, and he had to kind of lunge to catch the throw and almost made the tag in simply trying to catch the pickoff throw. Well, I guess the throw was right at him. He had to lunge for the runner.
Boy, looked like he got him.
Runner goes, and another one fouled down the right field line. Yeah, I believe it's called the Commissioner's Cup now.
Okay.
Twins haven't won it for a while. It is not the Stanley Cup.
It's kind of like one of the trophies that you and Dan Gladden put together throughout the summer.
Yeah, Mr. Gladden and I have had a little competition over the years, predicting stars of the game and all that. I had mocked up I thought, an appropriate trophy for the competition. Stood about 3 feet tall and involved just a modest investment on his part.
Only 3 feet tall?
Yeah. And it just involved a modest investment on his part, and he didn't want to do it for some reason.
That doesn't surprise me.
Swing and a miss. Presley ends up striking out the side, giving up a base hit, but having a strong 7th inning. Here at Hammond Stadium, with the Twins down 4-2. As you can plainly see, they've been out hit 10-4. Tommy Lane is the new Boston pitcher. And James Beresford will lead things off for the Twins in the 7th.
There are the numbers for Lane so far here in the spring, making his 8th appearance.
Showing bunt, taking a strike.
Lane, 31 years old. This will be his 3rd season with the Red Sox. Also pitched for the Padres for a couple years prior to joining the Red Sox.
Awkward swing. And it's 0-2.
Kind of a herky-jerky type delivery with side armor.
What Beresford can do here, trying to battle in an 0-2 hole against a tough lefty. Off the plate, 1-2. Second coming of Alan Embry, who pitched until he was, what, 57 years old?
Jesse Orosco, I think, was the...
And Beresford taps it foul. We talked about this before. Beresford seems to be on the radar screen in this organization, not based on what the exposure he's gotten in games, but how busy they keep him working on things over on Tom Kelly Field. Hardly a day goes by, it seems like, where Beresford isn't working on something infield related to improve his defensive game.
Well, I mentioned in his last at bat, you pull for guys like that. That got in the kitchen big time.
Got him right above the knuckles.
Beresford seeing if his bat is okay. But here's a guy that, again, 27 years old, almost 3,500 minor league at bats.
Hit over 300, well over 300 last year. Off the plate, 2-2.
Good take right there.
You know, in Beresford, like any prospect or any player in the minor league system, if he's asked to get in some extra work someplace, he's going to do it. But the Twins wouldn't invest the extra time with him unless they thought, hey, this guy's got a chance. And now it's 3-2. Now the Twins have Danny Santana and Eduardo Nunez as fill-in infielders this year on the 25-man roster. But Beresford continues to work hard and hit well. Fly to center field. That's going to chase the center fielder back with the wind blowing out, and a ball that Buxton caught isn't caught here. Beresford will hold up with a double.
Good at bat for Beresford right there against a lefty. Got a 3-2 pitch. His 3rd double of the spring.
Now he battled and had some ugly looking swings. It was Ryan Lamar, the center fielder, who couldn't track it down. So a leadoff double in the 7th. And Tanner English is hitting in what was Buxton's spot. Missing the inside corner, 1-1.
I did not have English on my minor league editions for today's game, but we'll try to find out something about him.
Swing and a miss, 1-2. Tanner English from the University of Southern California, born in Pittsburgh, lives in South Carolina.
Only his 3rd season in the Twins organization, signed in 2014. Their number 11th pick in the 2014 draft.
Last year at 265 in Cedar Rapids, the Twins Midwest League Class A affiliate. Swing and a miss. And English is retired, 1 down. And that'll bring up Danny Santana.
Third baseman, Danny Santana.
Santana with a single, driving in a run his last time up, 1 for 3 on the day. The base hit came as a left-handed batter, and what we saw from Santana 2 years ago, some extra base potential from both sides of the plate. This one right on the button. He drives a single to right center field. It'll drive in another run. 2 more hits and 2 runs batted in for Santana today, and it's 4-3.
Well, he came into the ball game hitting .357, picks up a couple more RBIs, now with 13 this spring.
Using the whole field.
Yeah, Trevor Plouffe leading the club with 14 runs batted in. That's the second time we've seen him come in aggressively and swing at that first pitch, make good contact. Another good at bat for Santana.
Darren Mastroianni has hit the ball even better than Santana has in spring training, but he will not be going north with the team. Well, technically he will. He is going to go to D.C. Beresford and some others will be making the trip to D.C. and then the 25-man roster will move on to Baltimore, and Mastroianni and some others will come back here to Fort Myers. Santana off to second base, and he's in with a stolen base. He'll pick himself up, try for third. Here's the throw, not in time, and the tying run's 90 feet away. So many times trying to get 1 extra base and a stolen base leads to 2 extra bases because of a throwing
That's
error.
why Santana is very valuable to this ball club. Not only what he's done offensively in spring, but his speed. That's his 7th stolen base in the spring. Scoots over to third, 2 head-first slides.
Infield in now for the Red Sox with the tying run at third. 1-1 the count to Mastroianni. Base hit, tie game. Mastroianni and Santana continue to hit here in Florida. And the Twins with at least a couple here in the 7th to tie the game.
Right, got a fastball in, fought it off with the infield in and hit it to deep short. And Santana and his speed helped tie the ball game at 4 apiece. Look how quick he opened up right there. Lined it into left field.
And now Arcia 0 for 3, a strikeout, 2 flies to left. Arcia getting another start today. He started yesterday. We'll probably see a lot of action in D.C. as the Twins try to get his bat going and keep it going. And as Jack and I were discussing yesterday, it'll be a challenge for Arcia, Santana, all the bench players. These are guys that are used to playing a lot. In Arcia's case, when he plays in the field, it'll be in the outfield. And the Twins, I don't think, are going to want to tinker with the trio of Buxton, Sano, and Rosario so often. So that's what I was asking before, or saying it's going to be interesting to see where he is when he gets his at-bats. Is he going to be a DH? Is he going to get some spot starts? And if he does, as an outfielder, at whose expense?
Well, he's going to be more of a corner outfielder. You have Eddie Rosario that can play some center if Buxton is out of the lineup.
Mastroianni will steal second base even though he was picked off. Head first slide, and we'll see if Mastroianni is okay. A lot of head first sliding in this inning. Santana did it twice. Mastroianni not holding his fingers or anything, so we trust everything is okay.
Well, the throw over, and Darren running at first movement. And he ends up beating the throw from the first baseman. So the go-ahead run at second base.
Twins will start the season with 12 pitchers, meaning they'll have 4 bench players. And the hope will be that they can stay with 12 pitchers. That was the hope last year, and it didn't work out. But the onus for that, of course, is on the starting pitchers pitching enough innings so the bullpen doesn't get wiped out by Memorial Day. Up and in, and it's 3-1. But Mastroianni trying to resurrect his career with the Twins. And, you try to imagine circumstances that will get him back to the big leagues. scalded to center. And Mastroianni will try to retreat to second base. He thought the ball was caught. So Mastroianni does not advance on an absolute rocket to center field, one-hopped by the center fielder.
Well, he says, my bad right there. You know, he picks up the ball, and for some reason he thought maybe the center fielder made a shoestring catch. Maybe he just lost the ball.
Carl Willis, the pitching coach, coming out. So Arcia, as he did yesterday, gets his single, his base hit in his last at bat.
He hit this ball so sharply. See Mastroianni at the bottom of your screen. He was with head down. By the time he picked up the ball, maybe he thought that the center fielder caught it, hustled back to second.
Well, the one thing I will say in Mastroianni's defense, I'm guessing. I mean, if he's running to third base, isn't he locked in on the third base coach?
Oh, yeah. Well,
so you wonder whether it was Gene Glenn that might have thought the ball was caught rather than Mastroianni.
having never been at second base, I don't know what he was thinking.
Here's Travis Harrison, entered the game as a pinch runner. His last time we went through the Twins batting order. Twins have tied it up now on a chance to take the lead, so Mastroianni is safe at third. He gets to third base anyway, and Arcia behind him jogs to second.
He was bound or determined to get to third.
And now Mastroianni, with his head first slide into third, may have hurt himself.
Might have jammed something there.
Thought he might have done it in his first head first slide to second, and now here.
Ooh, close play, bang bang play.
Oh, you can see Sandoval with his girth putting his knee on the hand or wrist of Mastroianni. It wasn't the slide so much as
Sandoval falling.
There's a third baseman in baseball you don't want to put his knee on you. It would be Sandoval. So Mastroianni maybe took it upon himself to say, all right, I should have been at third base. I'm just going to go on the next pitch. And now the infield is in for Harrison with two men in scoring position. That's down the right field line into the seats or into the grass.
Yeah, Harrison's job right here. Try to get the ball deep enough to score Mastroianni from third. There is one out. Harrison last year at Double-A Chattanooga, played in 115 ball games, hit .240, drove in 54 runs with 5 home runs.
Down and away, 2-1. Four hits in the inning against Lane. And now another misfire, 3-1.
Yeah, right-hander up in the Red Sox bullpen. Lane normally a guy that will maybe only face 1 or 2 batters throughout the season. 64 relief appearances last year, only 47 2/3 innings pitched.
And the count I had was 3-1. That's what they have on the scoreboard. Home plate umpire Junior Valentine says no, it's not.
I think the crowd also saying it's ball 4.
So we'll go with the count being 3-2.
3-2.
Never argue with the umpire.
No, sir.
There's ball 4, and they're loaded up. And we'll see if the Red Sox make a move, and John Farrell will do it. Anthony Varvaro, I beg your pardon, is I think going to pitch next for the Red Sox. With the Twins having tied it, looking to take the lead here in the 7th inning. Anthony Varvaro will try to get the Red Sox out of this mess in the 7th.
Yeah, Varvaro with a good fastball, very good curveball, changeup. Spent most of the time on a disabled list last year with a right flexor strain. Appeared in only 9 ball games for the Red Sox.
Stephen Wickens will bat with the bases loaded. Red Sox infield in at the corners a little bit, deep up the middle, looking for a ground ball double play. And now thrown into center field and a pickoff. Everybody moves up a base, and the Twins have the lead.
Well, they came in and they wanted to try to get the runner at second base. That was Arcia. He spun and then threw the ball on the shortstop side with the second baseman covering. That's a play a lot of times. The catcher will drop his glove and you look in the sign, then you spin and throw. But you have to throw the ball over the bag.
And it's something that's typically called by the manager who makes the pitching change. All right, we're going to try our pickoff play at second here before the first pitch. Infield in now.
And it is spring training, and they'll never do it during the season again.
Well, not if it turns out like that.
No, John Farrell will put that in his back pocket.
And we've talked about this play over the years. With our 22nd year, I bet we brought it up at least once or twice a year, where the Twins came up with the pickoff of Darrell Evans at third base, having never in my memory, and I've been doing this for a long time, I'll bet you it's the only runner in my tenure, 33 years now as a broadcaster, the only runner to have been picked off third base in more than 3 decades was Evans in the playoff game in '87.
It was a combination between Tim Laudner and Gary Gaetti. They saw something. It had to be Rat.
But you guys
at third that saw something. Maybe it was a couple pitches, into the at bat. And Rat said, okay, made a signal to the odds. Unbelievable.
But you've been up here for more than 2 decades now. The Twins are probably dead last in baseball in catchers picking off runners, right?
Right.
We just don't see it. Not at first, not at second, not at third. And as Gaetti himself said, that was the turning point in that playoff series against the Tigers, because they had won the game before in Detroit. Twins really struggled, of course, to win on the road that year. The Tigers had drawn to within a game of the playoff of the Twins in the playoffs. But the pickoff of Evans turned things around in game 4, and then the Twins won it the next day and clinched the trip to the World Series. Wickens chops it foul. I've been down here. We're over on the short field here, now called Tom Kelly Field, where they will work on things, and the signal sometimes is something like the catcher picking up some dirt and throwing it down. You require then that the third baseman in this instance answers, and so they know that the play is on.
Kind of like the squeeze play.
And Wickens strikes out for out number 2. And that'll bring up Rodriguez.
Navarro coming in and picking up a big strikeout for the Red Sox.
Reynaldo Rodriguez, the first baseman outfielder, his first plate appearance. He's got a chance to give the Twins some breathing room here, hitting for Dalton Hicks, replacing him in the field, actually. Talked about Rodriguez coming up through the Yankee system, then spending some time in the Red Sox system, only getting as far as AAA with them. 1-0. Oh, wow.
It's a Tony Oliva bat toss.
That's 130 feet from home plate.
Going back to the stick-up.
I mean, if you just stood there at home plate and tried to throw the bat as far as you couldn't do any better than that. 1-1 to Rodriguez.
Yeah, Rodriguez has some pop in his bat. 110 minor league home runs going back to 2006.
And a fastball that covers the inside corner. 1-2.
Bavario first came to the big leagues with the Seattle Mariners, then the Braves.
That's lifted to left center field, chasing towards the gap. And that ball will go all the way to the wall. Young and Lamar avoid each other, and Rodriguez has driven in two with a triple.
One of the most fun things to watch in baseball is a triple, but also one of the most dangerous things to watch is two outfielders maybe colliding. And look at this right here. Boy, they did not miss each other by much. And it was Lamar that looks like he had the best angle at it, the center fielder. But a big two-run triple for Rodriguez.
Centeno, the catcher, will hit. It's been a source of some humor in the Twins camp because the Twins have a larger than normal right fielder in Miguel Sano and a center fielder, Buxton, who thinks every ball hit in the air is his. And he's shown that here this afternoon. Centeno chops it foul. Somebody asked Paul Molitor yesterday, I believe it was, whether the Twins would have to reinforce the walls at Target Field because of Sano's size and right. And he said, no, we might have to reinforce Buxton. And remembering, of course, a couple of years ago, Buxton was involved in that horrific collision in the outfield in Double-A.
Minor leagues, right.
And obviously, everybody in baseball is hoping that doesn't happen between Buxton and Sano. But you're right, it's a dangerous play, and it involves communication between players who might not have played at all out there together. 1-2. And another chopper foul. Twins hang up a 5 spot so far here in the 7th to take a 7-4 lead. And Centeno hit by a pitch, and the Twins have batted around and then some now. First and third, no activity in the Boston bullpen. In fact, on our roster, the travel roster for the Red Sox.
If that got him, I don't know where.
I heard a tick.
Did you?
I did.
Just the jersey.
Beresford started this inning with a nice at bat against a lefty and ended up cracking a double to lead off the inning. Bavaro, the last right-handed reliever the Red Sox have. This one sliced foul. And still trailing in the hit department 10-9, but they bunched a lot of hits and some misplays by the Red Sox here in the 7th inning, and suddenly 5 runs are on the board. Twins still hitting inside a ball. Beresford takes a strike, 1-2.
Good changeup right there.
And now 2-2. Twins with a run in the 4th, a run in the 5th, and now 5 so far here in the 7th. Not close, and it's a full count.
Favardo will start the season down in the minor leagues. Came to spring training with the Red Sox as a non-roster invitee. Against some major league experience with the Mariners, Braves, and a little bit of time last year before he was injured with the Red Sox.
And fouled back to the screen with Centeno scampering to second. He will return. Centeno goes again and will retreat again. Some symmetry, I guess, to this Grapefruit League part of the schedule. The game started on March 2nd against the Red Sox. And now the Grapefruit League part of the schedule will end here today against the Red Sox. Just off the corner, Beresford draws away. And that'll bring out Carl Willis and give English another at bat this inning.
Well, it's been another ugly inning for the Red Sox. 5 hits for the Twins. 5 runs on the board.
English struck out earlier this inning. Wickens struck out. Everybody else has reached.
Is there anything on English that we missed the first go around?
No. 5'10", 171.
Okay.
Did we mention that?
No, we did not.
In the dirt, ball 1. Again, nobody warming up in the Boston bullpen, so as ugly as this has gotten, it could get really ugly here unless Rivaro starts throwing strikes. And he sticks a fastball in the outside corner, 1-1. Popped up, backing out of play. The weather for the opener on Monday in Baltimore is supposed to be fantastic. Upper 60s, partly cloudy skies. Then a cold front's going to move through, they say, and it'll be much cooler on Wednesday and a pretty good chance of rain on Thursday.
Oh, we don't want to hear that word rain.
No, I'm just telling you what the Weather Channel told me.
They've been known to be wrong.
I've been watching the.
Have you watched the weather down here?
It's the same every day.
No, they'll say it's rains and then it doesn't rain. They say it doesn't rain and then it rains. They have a 50-50 chance.
1-2.
And you're the one that always wants to be a weather person.
Just once I want to, do the weather. Checked his swing. 2-2.
Now, do you know what type of clouds those are in the distance?
Cumulus cloud. Everybody knows that.
I thought they're just big white clouds.
No, the white puffy, those are cumulus clouds. Innocent, nothing's going to happen. Now, the other day, they had some cumulonimbus clouds. And the game was shortened in the 7th inning with a downpour.
You ever look at a cloud long enough and see some type of animal? I see a rabbit right now.
Please throw a strike. Yeah.
Look, there's a cow.
More barnyard animals up in the sky with the Twins taking the lead in the 7th.
It was my
Seven to 4. All right, what do you make of that?
I don't see anything yet. I was looking at the cow, and I turned into a horse for some reason.
Okay. All right. Well, those are cumulus clouds, so if nothing else.
But as little kids, we used to always sit and lay on the grass, you know, and look up at the big clouds and picture different.
Kind of a natural Rorschach test. You could probably tell a lot about someone's personality based on what they saw in the clouds.
I did say I was laying on grass.
Yeah. Laying on it.
Yes, laying on it, of course.
Strike one.
Well, Fernando Abad, he came into spring training as a non-roster invitee, and he's going to leave the team with the 25-man roster. Signed a minor league contract back in December.
That's to left. One away. And that is Wickens out there. No, Travis Harrison, I beg your pardon. So one down here in the 8th inning. And Nick Longy will hit.
You know, you look at Abad's numbers with the Astros, Nationals, and the A's. The A's the last couple of years. Very good ERA. Not bad 2 years ago. Out of the bullpen, 69 relief appearances, a 1.57 earned run average. Last year, 62 relief appearances for Oakland. 4.15 ERA.
The number that stands out for Abad last year, 47 2/3 innings and 11 home runs. That's a lot of home runs coming out of the bullpen in less than 50 innings. Now the Twins fell.
Where did he give up the home runs?
All over the place.
11's nothing. He picks up a strikeout here, and that's one thing he can pick up through his career. 193 strikeouts and 227 innings pitched. The only thing is sometimes he loses that control. 77 walks, but not with that fastball right there. Picks up the second out on his first strikeout.
The Twins theorized that Abad may have been tipping his pitches last year, which would support the notion that somebody was feeling pretty comfortable at the plate, picking things up and knowing what was coming before it was thrown. But whatever, they think they've got him straightened out, and I don't know how much suspense there was or doubt there was that he would be the second lefty out of the bullpen this year, but he and Perkins are the two lefties out of a 7-man bullpen.
This guy has a good fastball, clocked between 92 and 97. Curveball, changeup. 30 years old, from the Dominican Republic. Signed as a free agent with the Astros back in 2002. Dominican Republic.
2-0. Breaking ball over for a strike.
And he took something off that breaking ball. The prior breaking ball was a little harder. That one there. Very nice pitch. And that's a little bit of the adding and subtracting. You can also do it with a breaking ball.
Strike, hitting the outside corner with a fastball. 91 miles per hour on the fastball. To short's left. And a long run and a nice sliding catch in left by Harrison. A couple of putouts for the left fielder and a 1-2-3-8 for the left-handed reliever. It's time for the regular season to start again. It's 10 minutes to 4 now out here. 11 minutes, 12 minutes, something like that. And if you'd like to spend some time on the Budweiser roof deck, you can, for groups of up to 250. It's the ultimate Target Field experience, and you can book it for Labor and Independence Day weekends, as well as April 13th. You can enjoy the amenities, the view, the game. Go to twinsbaseball.com/groups for more information. Well, the Twins will be home for a couple of the summertime holidays. 4th of July, the Twins are home with Oakland. Labor Day, they're home with Kansas City. Memorial Day, they are in the Bay Area taking on the A's. Outside ball one, Danny Santana. His 5th plate appearance, hits his last 2 times up.
He's picked up a couple RBIs.
The name we've thrown out there the last couple of telecasts with Jack Morris, who played with the man we mentioned, Tony Phillips, who was a great utility player, principally for the Tigers. He'd play some in the outfield, he'd play some in the infield. Sparky Anderson was his manager, and Phillips came to the ballpark pretty much sure that he was going to play. He just didn't know where. Now, I don't know from your experience whether you played with anybody who played a utility role both in the outfield and the infield like the Twins project for Santana.
Yeah, I'll have to think about that. I played with a lot of different players.
And another hit for Santana, his 3rd of the ball game. An extra base hit. And from each side of the plate, Santana all spring long has been stinging the baseball.
Yeah, left-hander Robbie Scott on the mound for the Red Sox left a pitch up, and Santana hitting it down that left field corner.
Now, the ultimate utility player in Twins history, of course, a guy you did play with, Cesar Tovar, a pitch left up, but you fill in my memory for me.
Well, that's where I thought, I thought of him right off the get-go, but he was mainly an outfielder.
Right.
He just did that as a kind of a promotion. I think Bert Campaneris did it,
right,
one time. We saw Shane Halter did it. Played all positions.
Mastroianni listed foul.
But he was mainly an outfielder. He didn't play much
second, short, or anything.
He did maybe once in a while late in the ball game here or there, but mainly an outfielder.
One strike to Mastroianni. Managers and general managers like to have their positions, we'll say, covered. You like to have depth at different positions. Now, what we've seen down here, Santana never playing in the same position 2 games in a row. But let's imagine, we don't wish it, of course, but one of the regular players, say Sano, has a tight hamstring or something like that. The way it may play out is maybe Santana would be asked to go out and play and produce in one position for 3-4 games in a row, and if you can do so successfully, you might avoid sending the player who might be injured onto the disabled list. On the ground to the right side, and Mastroianni is retired, but on the play Santana goes to third.
I was going to say that's a productive route right there. Mastroianni picked up an RBI single on his only other at bat. That came a couple innings ago. Last inning.
Aker Meneses will hit with a runner at third, and the Red Sox will bring the infield in. Mastroianni getting a fist bump from Tom Bernansky and the manager, everybody, for doing his job short of getting a base hit. Outside to Meneses.
Meneses in the big league camp. He'll start the season in the minor leagues. Last year in Chattanooga AA. Meneses originally signed with the Boston Red Sox back in 2008.
One and one to Meneses. It's 1 and 2.
Scott looking in. Getting the sign, 26-year-old left-hander, 6'3", 235. They have him listed at.
Meneses behind in the count, trying to put the ball in play, and he takes ball 2. Two and two. Just inside a full count. As we said, these last games typically are played pretty quickly, 2 hours, 10, 15 minutes, something like that. On the ground, no chance for Santana to score. Sandoval rifles his throw across the diamond. 2 down. And that'll bring up Travis Harrison. Again, if you just joined us, the Twins are done here after the game today. Everybody took care of business, closing up their condos, apartments, whatever, turning in the rental cars. They'll fly to Washington, D.C. Play a night game tomorrow night, a day game on Saturday, and then about a 45-minute bus ride to Baltimore.
Always an exciting time if you're a player, just to know that you're a couple days away from opening day.
And while it's particularly exciting for the first timers, Sano and Buxton and Rosario will be in the opening day lineup for the first time in their big league careers. The Twins are hoping in each case for 10 or 12 more years after that. But I don't know that it ever becomes ho-hum or humdrum. I mean,
not.
It's opening day.
Yeah.
It's a big deal for the veterans. Molitor experienced it. Tom Bernansky did throughout their long careers. 2-1.
You wish you could take the intensity of the opening day into the other 161 ball games, because it's an exciting time. Then Twins get to, I believe they open up 3 of them.
Kansas City, I believe, opens at home against the Mets.
I thought they had and start on the road. So a couple.
One in Baltimore and then their own a week later.
Day here at Hammond Stadium at CenturyLink Ballpark, as the Twins have a 7-4 lead going to the top of the 9th inning. And the 5th different pitcher used here this afternoon for the Minnesota Twins. This will be Marcus Walden, wearing number 94 on that jersey. Walden, a newcomer to the Twins organization, signed as a minor league free agent back over the winter. That's a very, very nice weather here for spring training of 2016 for the Twins.
I'm still going to try to figure out how we can get palm trees in Minnesota.
You're going to Washington. Somehow maybe the truck left today. Maybe you could dig one up and throw it in the truck real quick.
And I don't know this because I've never been in D.C. during this time of the year, but I mean, are we going to be there for the well, you're not going to be there at all, but the cherry blossom should be out in early April, shouldn't they, in D.C.?
Not sure.
1-1 the count. Walden out of the Toronto organization and been principally a starter. And it's past a diving Santana. He's got a chance to pick up a all but meaningless Grapefruit League save here in the 9th inning. And I hope he gets it.
Yeah, Walden last year with the Cincinnati Reds, he was actually released in late April, and he's trying to resurrect his career a little bit, signing a minor league contract with the Twins. Good attempt of a dive at third, but the ball gets into left field.
Rusney Castillo hitting now for the Red Sox. And a Chopper foul, 94 miles per hour. Out of the hand of Walden. Down and away, 1-1.
That looked like the slider right there at 89.
...147 minor league games, 102 minor league starts, an ERA of just under 4. Nice pickup at short, and the play made at first base. Beresford, the second baseman. And is that English, the shortstop, who made a very nice play to cut that ball off and get an out.
Yeah, he made sure of the out. Probably did not feel comfortable trying to get the force out at second. Decided to go to first.
So one down, a runner at second. And Josh Rutledge, the batter. Over the inside corner, strike one. And fouled back to the screen, 0-2. Rutledge in his 5th inning at bat. Drove one to center field and looked for all the world as if it was going to one-hop the center field fence and be an extra base hit. But Byron Buxton made maybe the catch of Grapefruit League play, not just for the Twins, just a tremendous catch. Back to the mound. They've got the runner trapped, but Walden will get the sure out. 2 down with a 3-run lead. No need to get the out anywhere but first base.
Yeah, Walden did the right thing there. The runner was kind of stopped between second and third, but with a 3-run lead, get the out.
It's a 1-run ball game. Well, then you can get into a run down and try to get the lead runner. Mauricio Dubon, the batter. And a nice play by Centeno. Centeno brought in to improve the organization's catching depth. He seems to be very good behind the plate. And maybe more playing time than even he thought he'd get. He's done a nice job catching a variety of pitchers.
Well, he's one of those guys that's not going to give you much offense. We talked about that earlier, Dick, with J.R. Murphy. You know, he'll create some more offense than a lot of backup catchers. But Centeno, not much of an offensive player, known as a defensive catcher.
He's been around a little bit, 26 years of age. 61 big league at bats.
Played a little bit with the Mets and the Brewers. Mets for a couple of years. Last year with the Brewers, only 10 ball games, but
3-0. And now a strike. Fly ball, right field. Mascarani squints into the sun, makes the catch. And the Twins will leave Florida with an 8-game winning streak, coming from behind to beat the Red Sox in the Grapefruit League finale 7-4. And some final thoughts from Fort Myers in a moment.